The rain fell so violently that it looked like the sky itself had shattered. Thunder rolled across the empty rural road outside Birmingham, Alabama, and lightning flashed just long enough to reveal the outline of a young girl, alone, trembling, and drenched in a wheelchair. She was barely moving, soaked through, her hair plastered to her face, her small hands gripping the wheels, as if she were afraid of something behind her. And then came the sight that changed everything, a black SUV speeding away from her, tires splashing water, never once slowing down. She didn't scream, she didn't wave. She simply lowered her head as if she already knew she wasn't worth turning back for. That image, fragile, heartbreaking, abandoned, was the moment Noah, a 34-year-old single father, realized he couldn't just keep driving. Because he recognized that look, the look of someone left behind. Before the story goes deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and humanity, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us spread these powerful stories to more hearts around the world. Noah slammed on his brakes, his truck fishtailing slightly on the wet asphalt as he jumped out into the storm. He was soaked within seconds, but the rain didn't matter. Running toward her, all he could think about was the fear in her eyes. He had seen that fear too many times, first in strangers, then in himself, and finally in his son when their family fell apart. The girl couldn't have been more than 14. Her thin frame shook as though she hadn't eaten properly in days. Her clothes clung to her body, her shoes were missing, and her legs beneath the blanket looked stiff and motionless. Noah stopped in front of her, catching his breath, his heart pounding harder than the rain hitting the road. She didn't look up, she didn't acknowledge him. She only whispered something he could barely hear over the storm. "I'm sorry." That apology told him everything. Whoever abandoned her had convinced her she was a burden. He couldn't let that stand. With steady hands, he guided the wheelchair toward his truck, lifting her carefully into the back seat and wrapping his own jacket around her shaking shoulders. Once they were inside, she curled up like someone who expected to be yelled at for taking up space. Noah felt something tighten inside him, anger at whoever did this, and a fierce protective urge he hadn't felt in years, not even since the day his ex-wife had left. Claiming motherhood was too much responsibility. Noah had raised his son, Cole, alone since then. He had learned how to multitask 2 jobs, how to pack school lunches at 5 a.m., how to smile even when exhaustion split him in half. He thought he understood suffering, but the child sitting next to him carried suffering of a different kind, one carved into her spirit. When they reached his house, a small, aging home near the woods, Cole ran to the door. He was 10, bright-eyed, and still believed that good people outnumbered bad ones. The moment he saw the girl, he widened the door without question and hurried inside to grab blankets. Noah carried her in his arms, surprised by how light she was, light in a way that didn't feel healthy. Inside the warm glow of the living room lamp, her face appeared even younger, thinner, and drained. Her eyes were a soft hazel, but clouded over with something far heavier than physical pain. Her name, he learned later, was Grace. Over the next hour, Noah noticed things that tore at him. She flinched every time someone moved too fast. She apologized constantly. She refused to look anyone in the eye. And she thanked them so many times that Cole eventually said, with the simple honesty of a child, "You don't have to thank us. People help people." Grace's lips trembled when she heard that, as if she had forgotten such a world existed. While she warmed up, Noah cooked soup and handed it to her with gentle encouragement. She ate slowly, carefully, as though afraid he'd take it away. Cole sat across from her, telling her about school, about their dog Max, about the weird neighbor who always mowed his lawn at 3 a.m. Grace didn't speak much, but Noah noticed her eyes soften every time Cole made her smile. After she finished eating, Noah stepped outside to call the police, but every part of him knew this was no simple situation. Something deep, messy, and cruel had led to that girl being left in the storm. And the more he thought about her wheelchair, her underweight frame, and the way that SUV had sped off without hesitation, the more a dark suspicion grew inside him. The sheriff told Noah an officer would stop by in the morning due to severe weather delays. Noah agreed, though he disliked waiting. He had always been the type who fixed problems as fast as he found them. When he went back inside, he found Grace sitting comfortably for the first time, draped in a soft blanket, Max curled protectively at her feet. Cole was showing her a book about dinosaurs. Grace wasn't reading, just staring at the pictures like she was trying to remember what life felt like when she still had curiosity. That night, after Grace fell asleep in the guest room, Noah stayed up thinking. He thought about Cole's birth, how he held his son's tiny hand, and felt a responsibility deeper than words. He thought about the difficult years after his wife left, when money was tight and he worked double shifts just to keep their home. And he thought about how Grace looked at him, not with trust yet, but with a fragile hope she was terrified to believe in. He knew he couldn't let anyone hurt her again. When morning light slowly crept through the curtains, Grace woke up startled, as if expecting a scream or a slap. Instead, she found pancakes on the table and Cole proudly announcing, "I made the batter all by myself." She smiled, a real one this time. It was faint, but enough to change the entire energy of the room. Noah watched her carefully. She wasn't just traumatized. She was carrying a secret so heavy it bent her posture. And then it came. Without warning, Grace asked where the wheelchair was. When Noah brought it to her, she ran her fingers over the armrests with strange tenderness. It wasn't just mobility equipment to her. It was the last thing she had when everything else was taken. While she adjusted herself, Noah gently asked if she wanted to talk about what happened. Grace hesitated. The silence stretched long and painful, interrupted only by the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Cole sat beside her, looking worried but patient. And then Grace whispered the truth so softly Noah almost missed it. The people in the SUV weren't strangers. They were her relatives. She had lived with them since her mother died 2 years earlier in a car accident. They told her she was a burden, that medical bills were too much, that caring for someone who couldn't walk was slowing their lives down. They kept her inside, rarely fed her properly, and last night, after an argument, decided she would be better off somewhere else. Noah froze. Every word hit him like a punch. Cole began crying first. He didn't understand how anyone could do that to a child. Noah felt the kind of rage that scared him. But beneath that, something else grew. A resolve so powerful he couldn't ignore it. He wouldn't let Grace return to those people. While the sheriff handled paperwork and investigations over the next 2 weeks, Grace stayed with Noah and Cole. She slowly grew stronger, both physically and emotionally. She began participating in little things, helping fold laundry, drawing with Cole, even joining them for movie nights. Max never left her side. It was as though he sensed she needed constant reassurance that she was safe. But the real turning point came one evening after dinner. Grace was quietly watching Noah fix a loose kitchen cabinet, and after a long moment she asked, "Why are you being nice to me?" Noah paused, looking into her eyes with calm sincerity. He told her the truth, that kindness isn't earned, it's given, that everyone deserves to feel wanted, that she wasn't a burden, that being abandoned said nothing about her worth, and everything about the cruelty of the ones who left her. She cried then, not tears of fear, but of something she hadn't felt in years, belonging. Weeks passed and soon the state stepped in. After reviewing the case, they made a decision that changed all their lives. Grace would not go back to her relatives. She would remain in protective care until a long-term guardian, preferably someone who already formed a bond with her, could apply for custody. The social worker asked Noah if he wanted to consider it. His voice broke as he answered yes. He didn't need time to think. He already knew. Grace wasn't just someone he helped. She was part of their family. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who needs hope today. Your engagement helps more people find these emotional stories. Months later, on a warm spring afternoon, Grace sat on the porch beside Cole, her wheelchair freshly decorated with stickers he proudly added. Noah stepped outside holding a letter, the final custody approval. Grace's eyes widened. She covered her mouth with shaking hands, overwhelmed, unable to speak. Noah knelt in front of her and told her she wasn't just safe. She was home. Before the story ends, I invite you to comment below. Every child deserves love. Your words matter more than you know. Grace would always remember the storm that nearly swallowed her whole. But she would remember something greater. The man who stopped, the boy who welcomed her, and the moment her life changed from abandonment to unconditional love. Because sometimes, family isn't the one you're born into. It's the one that runs toward you in the rain. If you want, I can also generate cinematic thumbnails, YouTube search engine optimization descriptions, hashtags, and image prompts for this story.